What's up, y'all? I'm Marcusbgaming, and on this one, I wanted to give you a quicker guide to the Crown of Sorrow raid. This one's got a lot to juggle in my opinion, if I'm being real. So as always, thank you for visiting the channel, and a big shout out to the sub crew for all the support. You are appreciated. If you're not in the crew yet, but you like your D2 content short and sweet, press that red star button and click up on that bell. Let's go. So the first encounter is the Hive ritual. Before we get into that, let's talk about the most important mechanic in this whole thing, which is blessing. So during the raid at the bottom left of your HUD, you'll either have or not have, which is blessing. This will decide what you can or can't kill. So some enemies can only be killed if you have the blessing, some can only be killed if you don't, and some things won't die unless you hit them with both situations. You'll always want to switch the buff on or off by shooting these vessels with someone with the opposite buff situation. If you are inside the circle when at least one buffed and one non-buff person shoots the crystal at the same time, then your buff gets switched. Also, it refreshes the timer. Always remember that if that blessing timer hits 0, shortly after that your ass is grass. So keep an eye on it and call out your timer about 10 seconds before 0 so someone knows to switch the buff with you. Probably calling out earlier is a better idea. So the encounter works like this. You have 4 waves to complete and you want to have 3 teams of 2. Left, middle, and right squads. Each team should always have 1 non and 1 buffed player. You start it up by having one member of each team standing in the green circle to get the buff. Once they do, teams split off. The reason you are splitting like this is to manage enemies and to be able to see the void crystals from the Savathun strike spawn. They spawn randomly left, mid, and right shortly after your second wave of enemies pop up. So you'll kill acolytes, thrall, knights, and eventually ogres after popping crystals. So kill adds, crystals, ogres, crystals again, and try not to die to keep the rhythm going. After the second set of crystals, one of the torches in the distance should flame up, meaning you finish one of the 4 waves. This is a good time to have everybody run to the vessel in the middle and switch your buff. But of course, you should all keep an eye on the timer and meet up at the purple club to refresh when time's getting low. Repeat this process 3 more times, grab your loot, and move on out. Next encounter is a jump puzzle. You need to get all the way over here by popping void crystals the same way you just did. Only difference is some of them will be in a bubble, meaning 2 of you will have to be inside the bubble to kill it. So still going in teams of 2 helps. Jump quickly so you can make it to a vessel platform before the timer runs out. Platforms under you will fall after a while too, so you just want to be careful but quick. Make it to the platforms with the vessel, activate them, and you get a checkpoint. Get across, grab some more loot, and it's time for the next encounter. For this one, you need to know the room. It's split into 3 parts, which each 2-person team will have 1 part assigned to them. Most refer to them as steps, which is where the banner and blessing circle will spawn, void, which is where all the purple light is, and then dogs. Kinda obvious why. When it all starts up, green walls will split the sections up. Each section will have a vessel. For the next 2 encounters, you should all refer to each vessel with the name of the section, steps, dogs, and void. Each section will have a deception, aka a diesel ass cabal with axes. You melee them to start the encounter. When you slap one, the fake 2 will disappear, and the random one will stay and chase a team around their section while protected by a bubble. He hits hard as hell, so run and jump around like your ass is on fire to avoid him, or stand on top of some boxes where his swing won't connect. If you're trapped with Big Boy, neither of you can get the blessing, so you can both shoot all enemies until damage phase. There's 3 waves of enemies, 2 waves of a wizard and thrall, and a third of an ogre and some thrall. Once the ogre is dead, check for what vessel is active. If it's one that's on your wall, you have to either pass or receive the blessing. If you stood in the green circle that showed up at the beginning of this encounter to get the witch's blessing, you need to stand in the vessel circle with your partner. And on the other side of the wall, only one player should stand on the circle to receive the blessing. That player passes it next time to their partner and someone on the other side of the next wall. And after the second round, everyone gets to the active vessel before a blessed and a non-blessed person shoot it. This way you end up with 4 blessed and 2 non-blessed people. You want this for the coming damage phase. So to bring down the deception shield, a non-blessed and a blessed player have to karate chop that fool at the same time. When this happens, the blessed player will lose the buff. When all blessings are gone, damage time is done. So each time the shield gets popped, only non-blessed players can do damage. Blessed people should be on add duty, especially if you don't have a warlock dropping a well here, which I definitely recommend. Best case scenario is to have 2 with wells, so another one can get dropped right after the first well runs out, cause you'll have thralls everywhere. Best thing to do is to call out the order of which blessed person will take what turn to melee big boy. If you're blessed and it's not your turn to slap, make sure you hang back, cause if you're too close when the shield breaks, you're gonna lose your blessing, and that cuts time off the damage phase. If you have hard-hitting shotguns, grenade launchers, and other heavy weapons, and you manage your 4 blessings correctly, you can one-phase the deception. If you don't, after the blessings are gone and the shield is back up, hurry and jump back to your section cause the walls will come back up soon. So, it's important to take out adds fast and to stay alive, especially if you're blessed. You don't want to waste a blessing cause it throws everything off. Repeat the waves until you melt the deception, and now it's time for the main event. You should see these big ass Gahlran copies now, and to start the fight, you want to shoot the one at steps. When this happens though, it's important to assign one person from each team to stand on the green circle that will show up around the raid banner to grab the blessing. Then all teams go to your sections. If for some reason someone who should have the buff doesn't, that person just needs to ask that a blessed player outside of the vessel circle shoot the vessel while they shoot it inside of the circle. The blessed person won't lose the buff this way, but the non-blessed will gain it. So you have waves to deal with like before. This time blessed people have knights to kill and non-blessed have thrall and acolytes like the first encounter. While this is going on, you have to worry about Biggie Big throwing balls of hot fire at you. A tip is if you stand under him, the fire won't touch you and he won't attack you either. Also, when you're dealing with all of this, listen for the chime and look out for a crystal to spawn in one section at a time. When it does, both players have to jump in its bubble and shoot it at the same time again to blow it. The crystals spawn moving clockwise, so if one shows up in void, steps should be ready for one to pop up in their spot soon. Pop them fast enough or wipe. And on top of all of this, you need to make sure that the blessed player for each team is keeping an eye on the blessing timer and calling out to your partner to run over to your vessel and swap with you when the timer is in the 15 to 20 second range. So kill adds, kill crystals, and swap buffs. After the third knight gets killed, you'll have an ogre and cursed thrall show up or a cursed thrall in a deception. This part gets a little tricky out here. The only way to kill the deception this time is to have both players in that team, a blessed and non-blessed, melee him at the same time to stun him. You want to stun him in the middle of the upper platform area of your section in front of Biggie Big, cause you need to make him swing his axe down and kill the stun deception. How do you make this happen? Well, after you stun the deception, look at Gahlran and make sure to shoot his hand when it glows green. This forces him to swing his axe down and hopefully kill the deception. Next thing to worry about after this is getting your blessing back for one player in the 2-person team. Once you both melee the deception, you'll lose the blessing most of the time. You have to run to your vessel and call out to a blessed player to shoot the vessel from afar while you stand in its area to get the buff back. After all sides kill the deception, you have to watch Big Dude closely. His hands are about to glow and you and your partner should each call out a hand, left or right, to shoot. Shoot the hands and then pop at his forehead. This will trigger the fakes to poof, disappear, and leave the real one. It's damage time now. Make sure to hurry up and swap buffs so you don't die during damage phase, and make sure to do one last sweep for crystals. Sometimes one does spawn right before DPS time. So gather, drop a well down if you can, shoot hands again and do as much damage to his face as possible. When he stops taking damage and gets ready to do the raise the roof hands thing again, stop shooting his face and go for the glowing hands again and repeat face damage. You should be able to do this 3 times and watch out for Thrall just like the deception damage phase. It is possible to one phase this guy too. We did it using 1 tractor cannon to buff damage, 2 wells, one after another of course, and a few swarm of the Raven grenade launchers with spike grenades as a perk, mountaintops or prospector launchers, and Legend of Acreus works well too. And if a few people have Outbreak perfected, that can be nasty. Pretty much anything high damage that shoots fast. If you know of some good options, please tell us in the comments. If you have more tips or I've missed anything, please hit the comments as well. This is a circus of a boss fight because there's so damn much to juggle. But communicate, keep that cool, and you'll get it. As always, I really hope this helps. Likes help me, and please feel free to watch more of my vids. I'm out.